The period of time that birthed Six Stones was a downturn in the economy locally, and so we had lots of properties that were depressed, lots of foreclosures. And remember the time frame, 2008, because 2008 was the beginning of a recession in our country. I mean, it was serious recession that hit housing badly.
Gary McCamey and the city staff was looking at realizing that if certain things didn't happen, there would be a city in decline.
One of the early meetings I can remember with Gary McCamey and Todd Smith, who was our state representative at the time, had to do with how can we bless the city beyond typical things churches do.
Our church was doing the same thing as Euless First at that time. We were interviewing with the police and the mayor and the city manager, fire. We were going around trying to find out what could we do, what do they need.
There was a discussion along the lines of providing shoes for children that didn't have shoes, school supplies, meet with city employees, all sorts of things that really are important, but they weren't necessarily anything that as city managers that I had a great deal of interest in.
Gary himself had a tremendous passion for the city, wondered how he could better impact the citizens from his role as city manager, but had probably never been asked by a church, how can we come alongside you and help accomplish that vision? And so his suggestions seemed to come from the mind of a man that thought about that before. And we just hadn't bothered to ask him the question.
There was money pledged by HUD to do major renovation of houses, and the city had to match a portion of it. We didn't know exactly the pathway to get it done, but we believed there was a pathway, and the best way to find our way through that was to just start.
Probably the most humbling thing about that first house and that first situation was that Gary gave us the name and address of a home that we went and kind of scoped out, but it turned out to be our own church members' home. Below code, 2 single sisters.
Everyone from every level of the church and the city threw in to help this. And you had the same thing going on in Wilshire with Restoration Church.
And I can remember getting our staff up on the first project, get them on the roof. That was a funny thing to watch a worship pastor that had never been on the roof before, didn't know how to swing a hammer on the roof. I think I was more worried about him falling off than anything else. And the shingles that we put on that roof, as we completely re-roofed it, were not straight. They're not straight to this day, but they cover the roof, and it was our first attempt.
Both houses were finished. They were very, very nice homes, and I guess we felt it was a success because it was a discussion of where do we go from here. We adopted this Euless Revitalization program that was to formalize it a little bit, and then the nonprofit Six Stones was formed.
Eventually Bedford and Hearst came online, program merged into their cities, and it became a very positive event. Everybody looked forward to it. And it gave the leaders in the cities, the churches and the businesses a chance to go out and get involved and immersed in the city.
Within just a relatively short time, all that was pulled together. And it wasn't pulled together by John Metter, it wasn't pulled together by Scott Shepard, or anyone else. It was pulled together, in my mind, by the Lord.